All right, here we go. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's Weekend Frivolity, our Broiler Chicken Show. Buck, 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 buck. Why do we call it Broiler Chickens? Why not?
Hello, everybody.
Looks like we got YouTube rocking and rolling here. So these are always fun to do these public shows and have people popping in the YouTube page and dropping comments and stuff. I hope you're all enjoying this market. It's interesting, sort of where we are, market state, broader cycle, economically speaking, transitions from one generation to the next. They're often really painful. And I wouldn't be surprised if, this coming generation, both into its greed cycle apex, probably the early 2030s, and then its subsequent fear cycle apex, probably middle to the end of, the 40s, early 50s. I think we're probably going to be talking cryptocurrencies out the yin-yang for probably the next 20, 30 years, if not longer. So enjoy the ride. I can feel the millennial shift coming, and here we are. The big part of the sort of aim of this weekend program is to address any sort of questions that the level tours, and I just had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, so I might have some peanut butter on my face. I'll turn my camera off now, but just in case I've got peanut butter on me. Big part of this weekend show is just to dovetail with the level oneers. They are slowly working through. What did you guys do this week? Or any level oneers here in class? I think, Peter, you're in the level one program. Hey, there's Bugra. I haven't seen Bugra in a while. Liquidity events. All right, so hopefully you guys are getting very comfortable with the idea that actually quite often in the market, when you actually participate can make a big difference, especially where relative to where you participate. So by all means, if you have any questions about buy the rumor, sell the news, sell the rumor, buy the news, or any of the exchange opening events around the world, we have like 3 exchange opening windows. There's often some trickery around the closes as well, especially if we're talking about things like futures contracts and day trading and all that kind of stuff. So please feel free to ask any follow-up questions you had with Graham. I noticed that he did go through your paper trading spreadsheets, and I'm really proud of Graham for that fact. Really such an excellent demonstrator of best practices. Absolutely love that. And of course he wants to see you taking 100 paper trades before you start going and risking your hard-earned money in the marketplace. And frankly speaking, I think that's not a bad idea. I don't mind, people that really apply themselves. If you can show me 20 paper trades without making mistakes, and you're actually being honest, you're not BSing, and then you start putting, the amount of money on the actual trade, a live trade, that's so small that it doesn't make it a material emotional impact to you, that sort of 1/10 account size trades, 20 of those trades, then I think you probably get to the point where you have a pretty good idea whether this setup's actually going to work for you or not. So good to see that the level oneers are just slowly working their way through. And of course, we are heading into December. In fact, I think today is December 1st. Happy December 1st. So we got, just like the university programs. And I mean, I'm not comparing us to universities, although I think this is a pretty good education program. But we are fully into exam season now, and getting ready for the holidays here at TRI. All 3 programs are heading into exam season now. In fact, the level 2ers, we just gave them the link. So good luck, level 2ers. I know you can do it. And of course, the level 3ers, it's so great because they're all derivatively educated now. And so they're all now becoming part of the TRI Secret Options Formula weekly meetings. And actually, one time I put out, by accident, a Secret Options Formula meeting on YouTube publicly. And people are like, does this guy know that this is public? Which is so funny. But anyway, the point of the matter here is they are now slowly transitioning into just, basically being active participants in the market trading derivatives, which is super fun. But it's not for the faint of heart, and it's certainly not for the beginners. There's a long, long process to get to be able to comfortably and casually trade those markets. Also, too, if I dropped any Twitter bombshells or anything that people are like, oh my God, you better explain yourself, that's sort of half of the reason why I like to do these. I didn't really see these tweets. I didn't really see anything startling. I am actually really liking the idea of us seasonally transitioning out of a bearish market state for the gold market and enjoying, maybe a nice couple month rally here in the gold. And some of the gold stocks look interesting. I talk about those on the weekly videos. I don't really spend this weekend time talking too much stock. So if you are interested, check out the little daily brief recap videos when I do my little rants about risk on, risk off, and the gold and the gold sector and some of the gold stocks. And of course, on the daily brief, we're constantly kicking around these ideas every single day of the week. So this is one thing that I really love about TRI is that I believe the site we have, like every single quarter we spit out a whole new whack of level 3 grad, what we like to call site veterans, OGs, on the site. And what I'm seeing now is I think the site itself is actually starting to sort of have inertia on its own. And we had one TRIer in particular was like, I totally want to do this Bybit competition. And then another TRIer was like, yeah, I'm totally down for that. And then another TRI was like, yeah, let's go. And so we were getting really close to sort of the cutoff, and we didn't know whether we have enough members. So, I went and piled in, and I gave myself a funny little name in the competition. So everybody knows who I am in our little team. But anyway, it was great to see basically a whole bunch of people piled in right at the last minute. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Sjord is still kicking butt in the competition. I haven't looked at the standings lately. I've taken one trade, and I suppose I'll show you the trade. I wasn't overly impressed with it, and so I'm sort of cooling my jets just for the time being. But nonetheless, great to see that TRI got a little team together, and like I said, great little community, and they're all working together in a room on the site. And also too, I think we're at the point now where we have enough educated members that we can actually have sort of like advanced rooms, rooms that were people that are actively competing and trading and stuff like that are chatting amongst themselves about setups. So really great to see that take off. And frankly speaking, I hope I'm the worst performer in the entire group. That would be perfect, because then all of them would go, well, Brian, you taught us to do this. Why didn't you do that? And all that. It will prove that these guys, they taught them how to trade. And I was, like I said, it's great to see Sjord is like leading the pack with like a 30-some-odd% return. And I think Julian's even number 2. So great to see the TRI peeps are stepping up. I will say, I think this one image really has captured my imagination on Bitcoin here over the past, I could say a week or two, in that we started this whole conversation off with the idea that we're coming into a really important higher time frame fib level, and what do markets that make these insane wicks and tails often look like? And oh my goodness, I made reference to a market maybe back last Christmas, maybe even early New Year. And it's interesting how seasonally we're right back in that same window where I kind of said chop Vegas, and then people sort of like say, "Oh, well, that's his whole thought, and we'll stay on that." This is a current market state, but I'd have to say, that we're back into one of these sort of chop Vegas kind of modes, where they went and washed the tail, and my hunch was they had to go wash this wick. And what's shocking, I mean, kind of hate when you see it in hindsight, but that's exactly what they just did. Just brutal. So there's that tail, and there's the wash of the tail. Usually, if it's a pretty active market, the tails will hold, but in this case, nope, sorry. And then they took it exactly the opposite side, and they washed that wick. And you can see how we threatening to break out up top. It's kind of interesting how we slammed into this AB equals CD level, and then we just lost our lunch. And lo and behold, here we are right back at this original neckline breakout level. Almost like a big hurry up and do nothing. Let's piss a whole bunch of people off. Let's get everybody thinking bear down. This guy's falling. Okay, go out the other direction. All right, let's get everybody thinking bull, bull, bull. Oh, moon, 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 moon. All right, screw them. Let's head back down. And in a weird sort of way, I actually had posted, like, I think on the site earlier today and last night and stuff. This is the guy who won the level 1 competition on YouTube. So it just goes to show everybody, we do like little raffles for seats for these level 1 school program, and we did, I don't know when it was, back in August, September kind of idea. And this is the end result of the guy who actually who won the level 1 competition. So all you people sitting on YouTube thinking, oh no, I don't know. I mean, this guy was like, he entered the raffle and he won, and he's literally had literally my ear for like the past 2 or 3 months, and we've totally built together this little trading script algo and the whole thing. It was just one model that I had demonstrated on the site. I want to be a day trader. And this gentleman, I was manually looking at all these, Brian gets his price charts in the mail, 1980s trader dude. I was looking at all these manually and going, okay, there's the bear, okay, there's the bear, okay, this one's already bear, all right, fine, we can go short. So first thing, and so that's, and then manually tracking all the trade setups. And actually I would say, like every quarter, I like to take on a new sort of, I don't know, what's the word, project. And last January, actually, I spent, last December and January, I spent time working with another site member from Australia, Sin, building out the algo signaling system. This is sort of like swing trader algo system. Love it. And the funny thing is once it gets to the point where it's all built out and I see the numbers are vetted, okay, on to the next project. So in the middle of the summer, somebody had challenged me, Brian, could you build a day trader setup? And, how would you do that? And I'd say, okay, well, I would take 3 higher time frames, and I would say when all of them agree, then just hunt fractals in whatever direction the market is. And that's basically what this process has been going. And let's see, this will even visually show you exactly where we started this fun journey. It's a bit of work, right? You can see what does vetting a setup actually look like. It's a bit of effort. So it looks like we started tracking, I guess, right in this area here. So I actually started that in September. So where are we here? We're November. So that's 2 months worth of work. Anyway, God, it feels like it was September last year. But anyway, so this gentleman, he wins a competition, right? And he comes on the site and he's like, well, I'd like to get back and all that. Like I'm a PMA for the win and all that kind of talk. And so I was like, okay, well, this is the model. And he's like, okay, well, I write a bit of code. So first he helped me with the background scripting colors. So we shared that on the site. And then he's totally taking it to the next level. And I mean, this is insane. And the weird part about this is if you go down to like a really low time frame, and I don't quite understand, Peter's going to have to teach me this, but look at this win-loss rate. That's crazy. 126 wins versus 87 losses and 55 break-evens. I mean, those are beautiful numbers. But look at that P&L. That's ridiculous. Now, I mean, there would be the signal, and there's where you take profits. I don't think it's like rocket science to figure that out. There's the signal. There's where you take profits. Stopped at scratch. So, I mean, it just goes to show you never know what's going to happen. I guess that's the whole point that I'm trying to make to you guys watching on YouTube. You never know. I mean, you might be casually watching. You throw your name in just casually into one of these contests, and then 6 months, or 3-4 months later, you're building like what I would consider this is a goddamn cash register. I don't even think Peter even realizes it. And the point here is if we can, I mean, maybe trading off 1 minute's unrealistic, but if we can get enough data and the levels, TradingView in itself is a bit clunky in the way that it operates, but Sjord, of course, TRI's Chief Technology Officer, blah, 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 he's like a whiz with all this kind of stuff, and he would just operate it on the site. So, great example of karma. I believe that I and TRI and we have helped Peter. Peter's trying to give back to the community. And I mean, like, look at this code that he writes, beautiful signaling systems and reporting and stuff. And it's just, this is such a great anecdote of that sort of PMA kind of thing. We're not, like, I could be like really bitchy and sort of, like, gee whiz, I helped somebody half an hour, 45 minutes here this morning just trying to figure out how to actually have this script that we teach in our level 2 program just show on his screen, and he was having a problem just working with PineScript. But anyway, the point that I'm just making here is the universe would not have rewarded me and TRI with someone like Peter and the work that he had done if we had not reached out and rewarded him. That 1 + 1 = 3, and it just fills my heart. It's so cool. So not only hopefully can we get Peter to the point where he's built a little cash machine that he can just implement in the market, but maybe too, he can even get to the point where he can sell his script and other people can make money just trading off his script. I don't know. But the point is a great analogy of TRI. So as you can see, this unfortunately is a bit of a problem right now for the bulls because it says that when the background color goes deep red, it means that all 3 time frames are all agreeing and pointing the same direction, which is this image, and that unfortunately direction is down. Oh, crap. So if anything, when I woke up this morning and I saw this thing had turned red, I was like, oh man, now back to work. God damn it. It was really nice having this nice break here where we could just take a pause, because I gotta tell you, this is a lot of work reporting all this crap and just doing it day in, day out, focus. Every morning I wake up, it's a good half hour, 45 minutes worth of work. So anyway, as you can see, and this is one thing that I really like about this cute little algo, is that basically it went 50%, right? 2 wins, 2 losses, 2 scratches. And the great part about it is now Peter's script, I mean, there's no lies. You can see the wins went up and the losses went up. And what I like the most, what I saw here this morning, is... where was it? Well, I guess... well, I mean, it's a scratch right now. That's weird, though. I thought it reported when I was looking at it this morning. It was different results. But anyway, there is Peter's little masterpiece at work. Okay, so I'm sort of going off topic here. And I have a bad habit of doing this. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm supposed to be a bit more focused here, and I think that's why people don't really watch this channel too much. It's too scatterbrained. Okay, once upon a time, maybe we'll just take a look at Bitcoin off a higher time frame. And then drill down to a bit lower time frame, just sort of give you an idea of what I'm thinking, whatever it's worth, I even said somebody yesterday was like, oh my God, a lot of people listen to you on Twitter. And I'm like, people don't listen to me on Twitter. Come on. They listen to Mr. Lambos. They don't listen to guys like me. All right. So weekly trend, good old Bitcoin, and actually we even had this chart up a while ago. We were asking, was Bitcoin a trend or was it a range? And, this is a log scale. So if we change it back to regular. If we were trending, we were going to be working our way up, AB equals CDs up to test the top end of the range. We are not. We M'd out, which to me kind of says range. So Mountain Man tags up to the top end of the range, rejected. Mountain Man tags to the bottom end of the range. Oh, what a surprise. Sort of playing, I guess you could even say Mountain Man ping pong right now. And how ironic, I think you could actually make the argument that probably a pretty good chance we have to go up and tag that Mountain Man level up there. What's that? 11,164. Who knows when that'll happen, and that, of course, is predicated on us actually finding the bottom here. And actually, as you can see, this week we went a little lower. So actually, nope, that Mountain Man's a little bit lower. 11,000 even there. And that might actually be sort of the happening event rally, is this counter trend rally after this market has sort of exhausted itself. Maybe we get through the end of the year, put in some sort of bottom. You see how long this bottom took to develop. So, maybe in through, December, January here. And then that sets up, the mark. What did Litecoin do last year onto its happening? So, I think didn't it go up like fourfold or something? I don't know whether Bitcoin can do that or not, but if we maybe panic dump here down to 4,000 or 5,000, then a counter trend rally all the way back up to maybe 11,000, 12,000. Well, 4,000 to 12,000, that's 300%, so it would be 3x. So it's not unrealistic. Then, of course, Brian and his crazy harmonics, I actually like the idea of the market rallying up to this level. I just don't know whether that I think that actually happens like into the election next fall. Maybe we do something like that kind of thing, So in the short term, keep in mind this is a weekly price chart. We did some pretty nasty technical damage, and especially if it changes to a line chart, right? Big M's, we finally got an M. In fact, actually, when the market made this higher high here, I was hopeful that, okay, maybe we could still probe a little higher. And then, big M. Nope, that's the end of that rally. Boo, hiss, hiss, boo. Counter trend rally, and I got to say, we talked about this actually quite a bit, where the counter trend rally came right back into the level that, if institutions were going to sell these M's, this is where they want to sell. I think I did a show with Alex Sturck around this time, and the reason why this broke was some guy sold $1.24 billion worth of Bitcoins right through here, and the market, basically, the floor fell out of the market. So it just goes to show what happens if you want to sell in size. Oh boy, all hell can break loose. Counter trend rally right back up into these levels, and I hate to say it, looking back in hindsight, man, that was a pretty good shorting level there. Inside bar fail. And then, I think I had told you guys, on this event, I was kind of looking for a trend continuation to push up into this trend line and reload zones. But if this lows failed, lights out. And it was painful. Baboosh, doosh, boosh, doosh, doosh. I haven't really been, I guess on the dump here, of course, that confirms more bearish structure, lower highs and lower lows, yada, yada, yada. And then I think, in these public videos I talked to you guys about, I think this almost looked like a liquidity pool they sort of generated off of this Mountain Man level. But, regardless, that's a V bottom, new low. I did find it interesting that we came into this tail because I had, like in videos that I had done forever ago, I seem to remember I kept making reference to this crazy ass tail, especially on, I remember like it was like GDAX. There's this really crazy tail there. And I remember when we were working our way higher, I go, oh man, we got to come back and visit this one day. And so if anything, that's a good reference. If you see these kind of markets making these crazy ass tails like this, how long into the future, and I'm going to try and remember this myself, right? So makes the tail. How long did it take for this thing to actually work its way back down to even start to address that tail, eh? Because you can see we're right into that there. So that's, 200 bars. So somebody on the site remind me. So just try to remember that. And what is 200? 200's, I guess, a little bit over a half a year. And, in a weird sort of way, that makes sense, right? May, spring, growth, fall, winter, contraction. Anyway. So, this tail, and then, of course, if you look at the CME contract, there's a big old hole on the charts up there. Where's that? Got it right here somewhere. Right here. I don't think this has been actually finished with here. It would be interesting, though, to see, because this has to be a continuous contract. So it'll be interesting to see how the futures markets actually resolve this. You might actually find that we go into some sort of backwardization shock, and the futures markets already discount this ahead of time. And so as we actually go through contract expiry, you won't see a heck of a lot of price movement to trade. You just see that the contracts down the road are lower and lower and lower priced, and they ultimately end up filling in this gap. But, any way you shake it, I don't think this gap has been filled in. And I seem to remember on the last weekly video, I kind of said, let's see what 1 week from now looks like. And I put these sort of boxes. I kind of thought that we were at this point, we needed to see a springbok rally and then a further dump. So it looks to me like we weren't quite done the initial dump. And it'd be interesting if we do like a horizontal line off of this low here. So that hasn't quite been hit yet. But I guess we'd have to say that maybe our box looks sort of like that. So there to there, I still think this kind of rally needs to happen, and I think that's basically what this is right now. So once we're done this sort of dead cat bounce sort of rally, that's when we're actually going to see what this thing really looks like. And, the V bottom, wicks and tails like to be eaten, all that kind of talk. I think that we still got to do some more business down in here. So we'll see how it goes. So if we were going to do sort of a you are here now, and actually that was kind of fun to do, so we're a little bit ahead, but let's do that now. You are here now. I think we're sort of like there. So we'll sort of top out somewhere up in this area here, maybe get all the way back up to 8,400 on these forward contracts or these futures. Tough to say. But then roll over hard and really test these low here. Let's see what happens. Only time will tell, right? All right. So, but that, I wanted to make reference. There is that crazy ass tail that we saw on Stamp and GDAX and all stuff, and it just so happened to be around that big CME gap. So I still think there's more sort of action to the downside that needs to happen there. I'm still, I gotta say, I'm pretty darn impressed by this Philby's yellow line. I don't know whether this is this stock to flow ratio kind of thinking, but I did see people putting those kind of charts out this morning, which I thought was interesting. So I retweeted that. I mean, it's awfully tough to time your purchases off here, but long and short of it is, we're coming into sort of happening events, which of course changes the sort of fundamental dynamic of the market. And it is interesting how, I guess this is like white, teal, blue kind of idea. White, teal, blue. White, teal, blue. And I suppose you can infer that, at some point we ought to go red, yellow, or red, orange, yellow. Red, orange, yellow. Red, orange, yellow. I mean, you do your math. I don't know whether something like this is actually guaranteed, but, what's weird in these kind of things I often find is if enough people see this and believe it, it actually becomes like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Well, it happened because this. Did it? Or did it happen because so many people saw this, they believed that that was going to happen, and so, if they were thinking about selling Bitcoins, they could decide, well, if this is what happens, maybe I won't sell my Bitcoins. And it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Who knows? But at the end of the day, this kind of thinking is still floating out there. Sort of, we're getting close to a happening event. If anything, I look at Bitcoin right now and I would say, if, it would be great if we could get a big dump to 3,000 or something like that, 2,500 here. That would be awesome. And I would be out there in the public going, you don't understand, people. The cost of production of one of these things is going to be like $4,000 or $5,000, maybe minimum, as of May, June. So in essence, you're almost got like a slam dunk profit, which means to me it probably won't happen. But maybe, I don't know, Wall Street tries to finesse all the kids out of their cryptocurrency. But I would make the argument if we can get anywhere sort of below $5,000 on Bitcoin price, I think it's an absolute, bargain. And you're getting something on special, and you're getting a deal. Also, too, we've kind of demonstrated over the past, anytime Bitcoin can get below sort of that 78.6, it just seems like it's a total no-brainer to step in on the buy side. So, in the short term, we're all like, oh, boo, hey, market's going down, blah, blah, blah. But ironically enough, I would actually argue that, if we can get some sort of big-ass dump and big-ass, just capitulation, it will finally sort of paint the ultimate buying window for this rallying event, or a happening event rally window that we're looking for. So I think you just got to sort of be patient and wait for it. And I think I've told you guys, recently I've started sort of a little options trading plan with one of our, two of our site OGs here locally in Vancouver. And we're going through the process of accumulating the Bitcoin that we do want to actually use on Deribit as our capital now. So we just put ourselves on sort of like a forced buying program once every week over the next 2 or 3 months. We're slowly accumulating Bitcoin. So in a weird sort of way, I want lower price. Keep driving it down. Keep driving it down, please. I do, like I said earlier, I found it absolutely fascinating how the market pivoted right off of this crazy yellow line theory earlier. I mean, that absolutely was remarkable. I do believe a lot of this action right now was sort of what they call a dead cat bounce. And I was feeling uppy. Our moving average systems, and I know I'm jumping around here, guys, sorry. We were talking about bullish fractals. Through sort of the last month or two, it just been like down, just nightmare down. So we're kind of hoping that, okay, maybe we go back into a little bit of a bullish market state and start working our way higher. For our trading, but so that meant that, once these moving averages cross bullishly here, like on the 4-hour, back there on the 27th of November, 26th, 27th, I sort of cooled my jets on sort of the short or the down sort of thinking in the market. And I even put out tweets sort of to the effect that, hey, it looks like we've got, fractals, heads and shoulders. 38.2s, 50%. We're still a bit higher than where we were in the market. So I thought we sort of had room to run up. And then I noticed yesterday, and it was a little disappointing, but, live by the sword, die by the sword. It's the way it goes. We were stair-stepping our way higher, and it looked like we were consolidating really nicely in here and getting ready for our next stair-step higher. And on this candle right here, if I show you, let's see, where the hell is that? I think it's this screen. Yeah, here we are. Excuse me. On this stair stepping our way higher here, I was getting half decent sort of volume signals that we were pushing higher. I was thinking sort of trend continuation, bullish bots. I wanted to see this fractal level hit. And so through this little consolidation right here, down, up, I was starting to get feeling optimistic, looking for some sort of blow off top move. And we had just got that little trading competition going. I was like, okay, I want to get my feet wet, but I couldn't find setups that were setting up for me. And then actually in a weird sort of way, I actually totally fucked this trade up. But, if anything, it's a good lesson. And I kind of learned a little bit about how to enter orders on Bybit. You got to go through this process just to get over sort of the learning curve. My sort of risk management, I actually went through the process of trying to build a trading plan. So what would a trade actually sort of look like to me? I already have this information, so don't really be too concerned about that. But, anyway, I put on a trade. And I was thinking uppy, like I said. It was a double bottom. It was bot level. And what's fascinating is, and I think this is a really interesting commentary, because I noticed that the market state in crypto changed as soon as this competition started. I don't know whether it's related or whether people knew that the competition was going on. So it gave them the opportunity to sort of mess around with the market. But I see a lot of sort of like, the bottoms are V's, they're not W's. Tops are V's, not M's. You can see V. Very, and if anything, well-defined M. People are going to be thinking market structure, go short, and bang, big stop out. And interestingly enough, on this sort of FU event move here, to me, I was like, okay, well, they just washed all the stops. They're getting ready to take it higher. So I was like, well, it's a double bottom and it's a bot level. So I bought it. And really, I wanted to risk against these lows. And if it broke those lows, I'd just get out. So that was the spreadsheet entry. And as you can see, I was very quickly and politely told, Brian, your thesis is wrong. Get the hell out. So I've done one big trade in our trading competition. If anything, it was pretty late in the move bought. I was looking for that parabolic sort of end of the move, face rip up into the 81, 8200. Inverted head and shoulders, upside objective, 38.2, 50%, yada, yada, yada. And really the bottom line here is that I took my shot, I was wrong, and I walked away. And I think I've said this to you guys before. Really all I want to do at the end of the day is just be the demonstrator of best practices. I didn't take too much risk. And I showed sort of a methodical approach to how I took my trades and lost money. And in essence, it was the same process day in, day out. So if anything, I'm feeling okay by that. But long and short of it here, and this is the irony of it all, is that I put 0.05 into that. They give you a 0.0013 sign-up bonus. And I guess that's to sort of get your legs a little bit. So even with that loss, I'm actually still a little bit up. But that's here nor there. That's very small consolation. So, full disclosure for you guys, I did take a shot up here. I got stopped out. Yeah, That's the way it goes. And like I said, what I really love about our little list is, our CTO is kicking butt. And he's number one on the leaderboard, and I think he's up about, I didn't see the actual number, but I think it's like 20-30%, something like that. So way to go, Stuart. You're the man. I actually don't mind the idea of us maybe carving out some sort of bottom here against sort of like 200 period moving average here on the hourlies. And it was actually really weird. Like last night, before I went to bed, you notice there's a pretty big hole in the profile here. And I even did this sort of squiggly line back and forth and just sort of said, well, I guess I'm kind of thinking that we'll just go sideways here and fill in the profile. And ironically enough, that's basically what I see happening here. It's kind of a crappy trade location, if you will. I love it when these reload zones overlap and you can see they're not. And actually it was weird. Like I even put a tweet out yesterday sort of thinking, and here I'll just show you. It almost looked like we had a head and shoulders, inverted head and shoulders bottom. And then it almost looked like a head and shoulders top. And if you drew a trend line off of these lows here, that the apex in this line here was basically some sort of big sort of event or horizon window that we should watch for. And do we get a failure right here, or do we get a double bottom and it continues higher? Of course, the market never cooperates fully. Have you ever, it's fun to do this squiggly line theory for the win, but very rarely am I ever exactly right. I mean, gee whiz. And I guess maybe I took that off of this screen. I thought it was on that screen. But you can kind of see that head and shoulders-y kind of thinking here. Do I have it maybe over here? No, I guess not. We actually dumped through that trend line. This is this Bybit site quote. Fascinating. I don't know whether you guys can see this. Look how on the other side we rallied right up to my sexy little moving averages. They crossed on that event, and that was an underside kiss of that trend line. Oh boy, what a mess. The bias that I had through the past few days was sort of predicated on this idea that the 4-hour had turned back up. And so as a result, I want to be a day trader and all that stuff. They were back on pause and inverted head and shoulders, dead cat bounce, take us up into 38.2s, 1.618s, 200%. And you might even argue that might have been a 1.618 up there. These minor A, B, C, D objectives kind of thinking. I guess, if we did, and, this is fascinating, right? Because this is this crazy daily mountain man level. I mean, somebody had asked earlier today, like, how would you describe this market state right now? And I would describe this market state, if you look at this image, right? We'll just hide all the drawing objects. This is probably going to screw everything up, but let's see what happens. Boom. I would describe this as a directionless market. So we were heading lower and V bottom, big spike up. That was the whole China BS, right? So clean out all these existing stops. Ironically enough, just take price right back up into that original structure level. Then go and put in a new M, work its way down, break these lows. This very sloppy inverted head and shoulders. And actually it's interesting. There's a couple of altcoins that we're interested in right now. And actually, before I move too far away, I don't want to lose all those drawing tools. But, this to me looks like a very drifty market. We drifted up through resistance, drifted through support, and we're not really going anywhere. So I guess what I wanted to try and convey was, darn, I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, this 61.8, that's what it was. Off the daily chart, right, this is this higher time frame. I'm a mountain man down in here, that level there. But remember we said off that weekly chart, this is kind of just looking dead cat bouncy. No sort of W's yet. And what does a really dangerous, choppy market look like to sort of newer market participants? It looks like this, right? It's extremely painful. You look at this and you go, okay, well, that's a W, and oh, damn it, just end. All right, I better hop off. And then instant rally. Oh, God damn it, I knew that. No. And then, okay, fine, I'll go buy it. And then it ends, and oh, Jesus, now it's, oh, no, don't go down to new lows. Oh, you son of a gun. It turns out it was a bear. And then, okay, fine, I'll sell. And then instant spike back up and just drive you crazy. Ironically enough, it's going to be like this kind of process that's going to happen to sort of mark the ultimate bottom and us turning back up. And until we actually start seeing, like, quote-unquote, higher lows, imagine that, you got to cool your jets. In fact, actually, there was another video that another gentleman, I can't remember what his name was. I'm sure anybody watching this later on, if you do know who I'm talking about, you'll put in the comments. But he said he needed to see three things to mark that Bitcoin's turned and is actually really a bull market. Number one, we need to see volatility come out of the market, right? So all this insane up and downy, too much volatility, right? Remember we said, bottoms, really, they like to come in on saucer bottoms, on quiet markets. So we got to lose the volatility, and you can do things like Bollinger Bands to try and help you see volatility. In fact, actually, this is really cool. This is volatility of volume. So these are all my different volume studies. No, I don't give this stuff out. It's still in development. But here is, for example, this is ATR of no, I beg your pardon. This is standard deviation. These are Bollinger Bands. But a volume, right? I love hunting for volume squeezes. So, but these are like Bollinger Bands of volume. That's an example of volatility. And then, it's really cool when you do, like, say, like Bitcoin. You can see that when volatility comes out of volume, big things usually happen in the market. And that was that big drop right there. Right? You can see volatility. There's that volume again. So it's a completely different study. But I just want to show you what volatile versus unvolatile squeezes in volatility, what that looks like here in volume studies. So anyway, the point here is if we're thinking about Bitcoin bottoming, we got to see volatility come out of price. So we don't really have that right now. We're still in a very volatile market. We want to see sort of this price calming down. Then we want to see, for heaven's sake, show me a higher low on something like a daily or weekly price chart instead of lower lows, lower lows, lower lows. So we're getting more lower lows. There's no hurry there either. And then finally, and unfortunately this is sort of a sentiment thing, is people have to get to the point where they're in sort of shock and disbelief and they hate Bitcoin. And when you turn on Bitcoin and Twitter feeds, everybody's talking about short. Everybody is short. Everybody's looking for it to go off the map, blah, blah, blah. That's exactly how it was through here. I remember people were talking about being short and looking for $2,000, $3,000. That was the only conversation that was going on. So that's kind of the environment that we have to get into. So we have lots of volatility. We got no W's, i.e. higher lows. And the sentiment is still pretty positive. I don't think we're at a bottom yet, people. Sorry. Sucks. But it is what it is. For our little trading competition, and like I said, now, and what I love about this, the one thing I absolutely love about this is I have no choice. If the script goes red and I'm not shorting, then I'm breaking the trading plan. Something's not right, right? So it's kind of amusing in that regard. Turn off your bias and just follow the damn plan. If you see a red screen on Brian's videos, then it probably means that things like algos are actually saying you should be short and you should be shorting. So that sucks. And I mean, it is what it is. For the trading competition, it's kind of weird. It's like I'm so goated. And it's almost kind of like one of these sort of confirmation biases. I'm, terribly worried that, some kid's going to strap on 100x long and the market's going to go up. And of course, they're going to look like a rock star because they're long and Bitcoin price going up. And everybody thinks, everybody's here, Brian, saying, oh, just wait, just be patient, just be patient. And, the exact opposite happens. So it's almost like subconsciously I'm like, okay, I can't be not long if this damn thing's going to go up. So I'm constantly hunting longs. And kind of like this kind of trade in here, maybe questionable. There was a bunch of interesting nuances. Of course, it happened at like 2:47 a.m. Coincidence? I think not. I do like the fact that I wanted to play the breakout, and if this thing W'd out and rocked and rolled, then okay, fine, I'm long from the right level. And I did respect the fact that I was proven wrong very quickly and just got the hell out of there. And of course, hindsight, good thing I obeyed the plan. But there is a part of me that's kind of like, well, maybe we're trying to find some sort of bottom in here. It's tough. I mean, if you are going to be hunting longs down in there, remember that is that higher time frame, 61.8 Mountain Man level again. I would just simply say, look at if we lose these lows, but this is what I meant to say about this competition. Do you notice all the FUs? And in a weird sort of way, like we have one set up on the site, the SFU setup, that was all about trading futures contracts. And in essence, what I'm seeing out of crypto, and I don't know whether it's a function of this competition, but it's actually looking more and more like a typical futures contract in that we're getting just FUs all over the place. Everything's getting FU'd, right? So, like this breakout that sucked me in here, that was a total trap. And then, like I said, the double top failure here, that was a trap. And then almost all of these tops, I mean, like there was the area to short, but how the hell do you get short? There's like nothing to work with up here. And same thing here, right? Look how they busted out this top. This doji was the top. How do you get short? There's no M. And then again, same thing here. And so, an old prop firm guy that I used to work with, he would say, look you have to show me that you can actually step in and sell against highs. All right, so that's what... and this is like from futures traders guys, right? So that's selling that level right there. And actually, all they do is they just have their order. Look I got my order one tick above that high, and I'll hit that. And sure enough, that was the trade. And they did it again. And so I'm just wondering whether this market has turned into one of these kind of like the market itself is just one big frickin' trap where, like all the noobs, hey, that Beamish guy says buy W's and you're guaranteed to make money. All right, there's a W, I'll buy that. And it turns out that was a trap. And kind of like exactly what I got suckered into here, right? I kind of thought that they pulled the floor out underneath this, got everybody going short, and then this was the FU because they wanted to take it longer. So I was trying to outsmart the outsmarties, and I got outsmarted. They FU'd everybody here, back and forth, all over the place. And, the one good thing I absolutely love about, again, TRI, 1 + 1 = 3, I got to say, there was about 3 or 4 guys on the site that were like, well, Brian, I'm actually hunting shorts up here. Sorry, I don't mean to be insulting. And they were clearly right. Way to go. Who was it? Aleem, you boss of a boss. Beautiful ideas. Beautiful thinking there, Aleem. So just clearly it goes to show that, and of course all this sort of rules. He's like, well, I got this reason, this reason, this reason, this reason. And I'm like, well, you know what? That sounds good. Anyway, so I wonder, there is 61.8 off of this smaller range, right? There to there. There's 78.6. So that's like, there to there. So I don't know whether he's done it again, but you can kind of see. Look at that, how that FU move again. And I'm wondering, guys, especially people in trading competitions and stuff like this, I'm wondering whether maybe we should be thinking like, look at, maybe I was bullish and thinking about buying the W, but I'm bullish, but I want to place my buy order where I would actually get stopped out. So I'm going to actually place my buy order right down here. So the FU move that stops me out actually gets me long. Because I got a funny feeling this market state, it just feels like that. And I don't know whether, like I said, it's a function of the competition. It's a function of the market state that we're in a very awkward area on the price charts, and we're not really trending really hard one way or the other. But I'm feeling very FU-y. I really am. Anyway, I'm going to be keeping an eye, for whatever it's worth, on this trend continuation, because believe it or not, I still think that this inverted head and shoulders is working, and really unless this level down here is broken, that thesis is actually still valid. There's 38.2, 80.61, and 82.41. So I'm gonna keep these bot levels on here. And if things start to turn around and the hoursly start turning up and the day traders all start being told to cool their jets and stuff, I'll be watching this 74.91 area. And you can see, with the overnight low, that FU low, there's one low. We just did another FU, so there's two lows. I don't know whether this is a third low, but you can kind of see structure developing here. So I'll be keeping an eye on this bigger bot. But as I had said, for the time being, while this is still actually operating, I can't really hunt long, so I got to cool my jets. Yeah, it's a good point, Andre. Andre says the market seems totally manipulated. It really feels like it right now. It really, really feels like there's low liquidity. There's not a heck of a lot of participation going on. This is a 4-hour chart off of Coinbase. There's that inverted head and shoulders. But notice, as this inverted head and shoulders is happening, if this was actually bullish, what we should see is these green buying bars getting bigger and bigger and bigger as, oh my God, more people are piling into the market. But that's not what we're getting. As this bottom was trying to develop and it came in, the volume bars are getting lower. Now this was a good sign to see that this bar was higher than that bar, so it meant at this point that we weren't in a bear. But then notice this move here was on lower volume. So now we got one high, two highs, three highs. Uh-oh! Who can tell me where I'm going with this? Man, indicator for taking a trade is fear and greed for me at the moment. All right. Thank you, Murat. Level 1ers, are there any? Jesus. Look at that, there's like nobody on the site now. Remarkable. How many people are? Geez, you got 50 people over there on YouTube. No, that's not bad. All right, so Peter, do you see this? I mean, this is exactly what we tried to teach you last week. And I even posted in the lounge, I was like, holy crap. I think I'm going to use this for my future education programs. I mean, it's so well defined. So one high, two highs, three highs. If we get a up volume bar lower than anywhere in here, that means, the bulls are falling asleep. And sure enough, where's the lowest low on this one? This is 821. That's 975. So it looks like 821 is your low. And this bar, that's 1,395. Uh-oh. And notice exactly where it happened. Oh, Brian, you knucklehead. So remember, Brian, that false breakout signal there on that next candle, on the lower time frames, that was green, and Brian got suckered into buying this little W here, and oh man. And even in the face of a bear div too, like the bear div actually like confirms full on, like right here. And was Willie stupid? Willie was even stupid. You motherfucker. So we get the signal. The bears are falling asleep, and the bulls are falling asleep. Notice that literally the moment that the bulls fell asleep, look at what the bears did. Woohoo! All right, time to party. Higher, 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 higher. And boom, down goes price. Yeah, man, drive you crazy. But anyway. So, point of the matter here, and you know, I mean, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. You didn't know what was going to happen. I defined that I was going to act, and I defined my risk, and I got out when I was proven wrong, and so, you know, on balance, I can't complain. But I think, you know, for us actually to see this son of a gun start to turn back up, I mean, geez, we got to see some. Number one, we got to see some sort of sign of maybe divergence, bullish divergence here. Because remember, this whole sort of conversation of rally started back here where the 4 hours were starting to paint W's and bullish divs. Now we got bearish divs, and you could even argue a nice head and shoulders and price momentum there. Willie and RSI now pointing and trending lower with Williams percentage R sort of leading the way. So, I gotta tell you guys, I mean, it's gonna be tough. So, I mean, you could entertain the idea of taking long shots in here. It's probably not something I'm gonna be doing unless I actually see it, like, really carve out really wide here. So, I could understand something like that, but this is gonna take a lot of work. So, if we lose these levels, unfortunately now you can see we have pretty well-defined bear AB equals CDs, which look like they're going to take us right back down to the bottom here. And we had sort of painted that. This is probably a good chart to look at for that. Ideally, remember we had that crazy-ass tail there? It's still wide open. Notice how that lines up with reload zones, which also lines up nicely with the bottom of value. And I wonder, you know, is this A, B, C, D taking us down into these lows here? I kind of, you know, my preference would be, and as long as this thing is still pointing down, you can see it actually has already given signals, and it is working shorts as we speak. My hunch is down, but you know, does this translate into just some quick FU and then we're done, we start working our way back up? I think you probably, as soon as you start seeing divergences and W's and things like 4-hour charts, then we can start thinking back up in earnest. But for the time being, we just got a 4-hour moving average cross sell. Actually, it's cool to see you got the kickback right after that moving average sell. Bears are sort of driving the bus right now. And I actually do like the idea of maybe a nice little dip against 7,000 or so. So, I don't know. I don't know whether any of that rant helps you. Hopefully, in a weird sort of way, I like to use these sessions to almost like verbally just talk out what I'm thinking in the market. And right now, I'm seeing not a hell of a lot to get excited about. Sorry. You know, in fact, earlier on the site today, I put out, what does a dead cat bounce look like? And take a screenshot of this, because I think it's a really good analogy. Because you can see it right across the board on all three of these. So, the dead cat bounce, what does it look like? Boing. Ethereum, same sort of thing. Boing. And the irony of it all is, like, you know, even on Bitcoin right now, 13 EMA resistance sitting at, looks like about 8,500, somewhere up in that area there, right? So, you know, V bottom, dead cat bounce. You can see where resistance is. Is the dead cat bounce over? I don't think so just yet. Till that sort of inverted head and shoulders is played out on the hourlies. 4 hour, I guess it was. And actually dips against that sort of 7,000 area. I would actually really like the idea of a nice turn down in here. That would be awesome. Just to piss everyone off. Ironically enough, not even really break this inverted head and shoulders. Maybe just come down, play with this tail a little bit, right back into this reload zone, bottom of value. That to me seems most logical. But having said that, and quite often what happens when I do this video is if I say, if my hunch is we're heading up, then the market will roll over and head down. So remember, that's just Brian's opinion. Opinions don't make anybody any money. Extremely dangerous. Please, everybody. If I say, I kind of like the look of this, remember, I'm putting my money at risk. I have my own risk management rules. I don't know what your portfolio looks like. I don't know what kind of risk you can handle. If even looking at these names is even appropriate for you, so that I'm not giving you advice. If you happen to buy something that I say, hey, I like the look of this, I want to pick some up, then it's entirely on your shoulders, the trade. And really, I don't like the look of that. If anything, what I would prefer is you learn to identify why I liked a certain idea, see those reasons, and kind of like what I was telling you in the trading competition room. I happened to look at a market and I saw one thing. It turns out I was completely wrong. At the exact same time, I had students who said, well, Brian, this is what I'm seeing. And it turns out they were completely right. Just goes to show, people's opinions, they're meaningless. What matters is, do you have reasons that resonate with you to get you to act? And sometimes you're going to be right, sometimes you're going to be wrong. And of course, when you're right, you got to make damn sure you get paid relative to when you're wrong. So hopefully, as you sort of, especially people on YouTube watching this, hopefully as you're sort of watching away, take little notes. Geez, I see him talk about that reload zone stuff quite a bit. I see candle body load references. Ooh, I see this moving average relationship reference. Ooh, I see the inverted head and shoulders, whatever. And over time, you're going to go, okay, I'm starting to get reasons. When I see these things happen, then I have confidence in acting. Okay, there's only really one altcoin that really has my attention right now. I mean, there's a bunch of them. We're in a bunch. This Algorand's looking good. The Augur. Even that teal, I think, looks fine. Mona, I love. There's a bunch of them in there. And actually, what's kind of cool, but I'm not quite sure why, but actually, even our little crypto portfolio on this site, it's a pretty good balance. These are all our free coins. I'm not sure why we still have Nubits on there. That doesn't make any sense at all. Nubits died a horrible death a while ago. But, RLC, Steemit, MCO, Doge, Litecoin, Hemp. Isn't that interesting? Is Hemp still on the board? I can't remember if Hemp got wiped out. Lynx, Ethereum, Stellar, Numerate, Incent, Tokes. Is Tokes still around? Solar Coin. And it's kind of cool to see the mix of coins, and of course a lot of these coins are pretty popular. But remember, all these coins, they're just all our free coins from the last cycle. And ironically enough, I fully expect this to go zooming straight back up again once we go back into the bull market. It's just a question of if and when. But free is free is free, so I don't really have a timeline. But anyway, it's just interesting to go through the list that, we do have nice sizable positions in a lot of these really cool names, right? All right, somebody's sending me messages here. Who is that? That's from Bugra. Yeah, well, what are you? Are you on like the, actually, I'm not even quite sure. Bugra, are you even a site member? How did you get in here? Oh, that guy's cheeky. Anyway, all right. So hopefully I've given you. I mean, the problem here, guys, is that week after week you have to try and put new spin on the same story, and really the story hasn't changed. So hopefully you guys have heard that really I don't see any huge change in the technical picture of Bitcoin and crypto right now. slow and steady. Traders got to trade. Be careful out there because of things like this crypto competition on this Bybit. I see a lot of really, really screwy action that I don't think we would actually see if there really wasn't these competitions and stuff going on here. Some really, really funny price action. And as I said, ironically enough, if I wanted to be a seller in earnest, I really like sort of 81, 8200 on a good old the corn, 38.2s, that kind of stuff. And if I want to be a buyer, I really like this idea of reload zones down here, maybe underneath 7,000. Right here, very tough place to make any serious bets. All right, so that's basically the crypto overview. There's no volume. Was that maybe there's no volume? I don't know. Okay, it is. You're freaking me out there, Andre. By talking for half an hour, no, I'm just sitting here talking to myself. So there's one coin that I wanted to mention to you guys, and frankly speaking, I don't really know the fundamentals. You know me, I'm not really the smartest when it comes to identifying the fundamentals of these stories. But man, this price chart looks so cool. It's this Agrello. I like to look at these things versus US dollar. You've probably heard me talk about that lots in the past, but I don't know, you look at this chart, it's not bad looking. That's the weekly. And what's interesting is, and this is actually a log scale, so let's go regular. So that's what it looks like regular. And actually, what was kind of fun was we used to have a site member who absolutely fell in love with 88.6 fib retracements. We called it the Leprechaun because he was from Ireland. And what a great analogy. In this case, it looks like the market actually is going to double you right off his 88.6. I mean, I'm a big fan. You can see down, up, down. Ooh, a little bit of a breakout. Ooh, a little bit of a head fake. Never went through that low. And now we're trying to push back up through here. So, and, candles, candle high, candle low. 50% level looks like about 10 cents, sitting here at 4 cents, so that's got double written all over it. I don't know what's gonna happen, but have you guys ever heard me talk about OBV? Yeah, the venture capital level. I like that, Bob. You guys ever heard me talk about if I was going to have a divergence in price momentum or volume momentum, which kind of momentum should I prefer? Volume! Very good, Peter. Volume speaks volume. Look at that volume momentum. Can you guys see that? Excuse me. Can you see that? That's insane. Insane in the membrane. Insane in the brain. And actually it's kind of cool is I think actually if you look at this thing versus Bitcoin, it looks even better. And again, I'm not telling you what to buy. I'm not giving you financial advice. Frankly speaking, you can do with your money as you please. It's not going to make any difference to me. But if I can see a situation where I can double my money, I mean, just look at this crazy ass range. Yeah. We won't go for 88.6. Let's just go for a 50% roll. So 596, and the 50% level is sitting at 2644. And I mean, gee whiz, look at this damn OBV. That's just ridiculous. Beautiful turn here in RSI and Willie, and I guess did Willie get stupid? Oh yeah, nice. Wow, very stupid. Keep in mind that's a weekly price chart too, eh? So, and I mean, I'm not even talking about this thing going to new highs. Look what happens if all we do is we just go back up at some point, You want to see a kick in the pants, which just kills me, but I used to do this with people all the time. And these levels would get hit. IOC did it. It was quite remarkable, but I bet we can't even get the price charts. They've probably gotten rid of them. No? Okay, well, there they are. So we did crazy things when the IOC was breaking out. We'd go, if this thing really gets going, it's probably going like boobity boo, there to there, and it's going to hit there. Well, gee whiz, actually it went quite a bit further. And we go there to there, it's probably going to, oh, never did get that one. That one's a bit aggressive. I don't know, we can go like there to there. So, it is kind of a fun way to sort of come up with upside objectives. I think actually we were even doing them like off of here, if I remember correctly. And really, if anything, this is kind of what I'd like to see. I'd like to see that we're in sort of this kind of phase right now with crypto. I mean, I don't know about this name in particular. But the point that I would just make is we were looking at that other name there just a second ago. And if we play connect the dots there, it paints just some absolutely insane upside objective. And believe it or not, if this thing does get going, I think Dash actually did, I think, a chart that looked like that. But I know, call me crazy, but believe it or not, those kind of numbers in this kind of space are actually not unrealistic. I'm not giving you forecast of the future, but don't be shocked. If you play the venture capital game long enough, you will see that actually this isn't totally outlandish to actually think like this. So, this is how those kids buy those damn Lambos, 6 months, I guess 2 or 3 or 4 years from now, right? When they're like, were you in on crypto when the Pluto-Saturn cross came in? Man, I was loading up the boat, and now look at me, Lambo Central. And it's like 2023, 2024, maybe 2025, that kind of thing. So, I'm always talking to you guys about trying to hunt for these crazy W's, right? Market structure, bottom of the range, all that kind of talk. Well, there's another one that sure seems to be setting up. Very, very attractive looking little idea. So hopefully you can get the impression of what Brian's probably doing with a little bit of his capital here. So there you go. Okay. That's noon now. I think I've been blabbing away here for about an hour and a half, an hour or so. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, ring that bell, broil that chicken, choke that chicken. What? No, that's something completely different. Now I get myself in trouble. All right, guys. Hope you have a great day. Try to play from a position of strength. If you need help, if this seems like it's absolutely overwhelming and you need to sort of wrap your head around this whole idea of running a small business of trading, working with a trading plan, really getting in touch with who you are as a trader and where you want to go, and then building that plan out to meet those desired expectations. How do we build setups? How do we identify location, indicator confirmation, i.e. divergence? Price structure, candlestick patterns, M's and W's, heads and shoulders, triangles, whatever. And now even today, liquidity events, understanding the forward discounting mechanism model. Maybe consider joining our education program. To all students, like I said, this is exam week. We actually just trained up a new instructor for the level 2 program, Kiran. So I'm really proud to see the hard work he's doing. Thanks so much, we actually have quite a little education team. We've got all our pool of TAs. Marat, I see you over on YouTube there. Great. And one day we got to get Marat to do a presentation on his pi and the application of Gann angles and the arcs using his pi tools. Great stuff. Joshua, I think I saw Joshua around here somewhere. Another just beautiful PMA gentlemen, our level 2 TA. And then, of course, Zach, he and I sort of run the TRI SOF club together. And he's been the TA here for the level 3 program for me. So thank you, everybody, all staffers. I think we've done an excellent job this term. Students seem to be very pleased with the product and their expanding knowledge. Good luck, students, on your exams. I know it's going to be tough. If anything, we did it all at the end of November, beginning of December, so you get that done. Study for the next week or so. Write that exam sort of mid-December, and then that way we can all have an awesome holiday and New Year's together, predicting Bitcoin price through the end of the year. All right, everybody, have yourselves a fantastic day, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. I'm going to go off and be the best Liam support person I can be this afternoon. So wish me luck. It's always a challenge with Liam. But all the best. And, of course, we'll see everybody on the site and bright and early for daily briefs first thing tomorrow morning. All right. Have yourselves a great day. All the best. And bye for now.